So we're on our way to Napa to pick up some parts for the truck, specifically the transmission. It started slipping the other night, and through a code P0756. So what we're going to do today is drop the pan, and we're going to replace some of the shift solenoids, and we're going to slap a filter and some new fluid in it. And I think today we're going to be teaming up with Kyle, whose channel is Talbot Industries. I'll link it in the description below. And he's going to be giving me a hand on it today, and hopefully we can squeeze a couple more miles out of this transmission. It's a stock 4L80E. It's got the dash on the truck is 237 and change. In all reality, it's closer to like 245. And to my knowledge, it's the original transmission. So it doesn't really owe me anything, but I'm not really ready to do the Duramax swap yet, and I'm also not ready to drop $2,500 on a transmission that's going to come out in, within a year or so. So we're going to see if for about $100 or so, if we can get this thing through the summer and into the fall, and see what we can do. All right, well, as you can see, we're now in the truck. We got Kyle behind us. That's in the event that we don't make it over to his house. And I got the parts from Napa. I got the solenoid B, which is the 2-3 solenoid. Currently we are, I thought for a second we had shifted into third. We haven't. So we're stuck in second. Can't go any further than second. So we're gonna drop the pan and hope for the best. All right, so we're over at the Talbot Industries compound, and got the pan off the truck. And this is what the fluid looks like. You can see it's pretty dark. There was some accumulation on the magnet, not a ton, but it's also only got about 12,000 on it since I had the pan off last time. So we're going to clean that, and we're also going to add a port for a temp gauge through the edge while we got it. And under here, we've got the Tranny just doing its thing. Gonna have to drop that filter pretty soon and slap the solenoid in it. So, the two solenoids are right there in the back of the Tranny. I believe I've got the correct one disconnected. And the way we're gonna check that is we're gonna see if it right off the bat throws a code for that being disconnected. So obviously we're not gonna run the truck. Just let the...
I wonder whose idea that was.
That was an idea courtesy of Talbot Industries at Kyle Talbot _01. Yep. So now we can go ahead and replace that solenoid.
Right.
Thanks again for the idea at Talbot Industries at Kyle Talbot 01. All right, so here's another look underneath of the solenoids. So that there is the port that shift solenoid B sits in. This is shift solenoid A. So this is your 1-2 shift, and that's your 2-3 shift. So that's why the truck isn't shifted into third right now. It's because that one's not operating properly. All right, so we got our new solenoid in right there, plug back in and torque down, and now we're just gonna slap the filter in it and then go clean the pan and install the bung for the transmission temperature sensor. So we're just prepping the pan here for, we're gonna have a temp sensor on the side through the edge, and then we added a drain plug in the bottom. These are just like a serrated flange nut that Kyle turned into a bung, so you can check out the video on his channel of how to do that, I think. And so we're just gonna go ahead and TIG these bad boys in and then get this pan ready to slap back on the truck and hopefully it drives. news. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh yeah. So basically, slap the filter in her, which I had to wait a day to get the right filter because it turns out there's a shallow pan version and a deep pan version, and your boy's got the shallow pan, and the only filter that anyone stocks is for the deep pan. So I had to wait a day, which is today, to get the correct filter. Put it all back together, drove it up and down the road. Everything seemed fine, and then we were driving. Ironically, it was time to take the Honda to the dealership for an airbag recall, and I figured I'd follow Kyle in this thing, and just cruising around town like 30-35 miles an hour, driving it nice and easy. Temps came up to like 200 degrees on the tranny, and it started slipping, and it threw the code. And so short version is the thing's fucked, and now I got to decide what I'm going to do with it. So far the options are rebuild this transmission, or I should say have this transmission rebuilt, because there's no fucking way that I'm doing it. Option 2 would be to find a used 4L80 and slap her in there and hope it's good. Option 3 would be try and find an NV 4500 and put it in. Option 4 would be to say fuck it and start doing the Duramax swap now, which I really don't want to do because it means another summer of having the truck off the road. But I don't know, see what's what. But that's going to conclude this video. The 6.5 is fucked.